Hello, it's Paula again, and this is on the fly. I was sitting on the couch, and one of my favorite restaurants that we like to go to for a quick Italian meal is Mario's out here in Coachella Valley. And I haven't had meatballs since Lent started. Lent just ended, so I'm gonna make meatballs. And I said, why not show people how to make really fast, really easy meatballs? And on top of it, it's basically, you probably have everything in your pantry and your refrigerator. If not, you can modify it. So, again, we have some onions that we're gonna saute up and sweat it in just a moment. Of course, we're gonna need eggs. We have our parsley. I have some things back there just in case. EVOO, the olive oil. My breadcrumbs that I make, that'll be another video because it's super easy. Why spend $3 on that little can of Prego breadcrumbs? We need a bowl, our knives. These are the 2 burgers that we have left from our dinner last night that we didn't use. That's about a pound. Usually it should be even portion, pound to pork. And I remembered, I said, oh wow, I do have pork sausages. Works perfectly. So what we're going to do first, again, like I always say, we are going to sweat our onions. And I am the one, just don't be afraid of the butter. About medium heat. We're going to put some EVOO on it. Voila. And then we're gonna sweat some onions. A lot of times you'll see people not put onions in it. This is an old Polish recipe. I'm probably gonna get a little kickback from the Italians going, oh, this is not how you do it, but this is what we do. I sweat my onions before I put it in the meat. That's also to hide it a little bit from all those people that don't like onions in their food because it breaks it down better. Today we have our garlic. I ran out of the bottle from the other day, and this is all they had at the grocery store, and I'm getting a little lazy to cut my own. About that much. So, saute, sweating the onions and the garlic. Really doesn't need more than that. All we're looking for is the onions to be clear and to start sweating. We don't want to caramelize them again. We don't want the brownness. Brown means bitter when it comes to things like garlic. So, just a moment more with that. And I'm just going to let it sit on the back of my stove and cool down because when we mix everything in, we don't want these onions to be hot because that would partially cook some of the ingredients that we're going to be mixing in. So off to the back, make sure the pan cools down a little bit. And one of the reasons why I'm thinking I want to share this with you, you don't need recipes to cook. I mean, recipes are a great guideline. You can always look them up on the internet and say, oh, I can make that, and then just go to your kitchen, grab all the stuff, and you can put it together. So this is basically just going to cool down until we put it into our mixture. So we're going to have our hamburger. Just got lucky enough that I ended up going to one of the local purveyors, Crown Meats. I'd like to put a shout out to Glenn. He's doing family packs for people while we're under the quarantine. And then this was actually in my freezer because I couldn't have it all through Lent because I gave up all red meat. And I'm going to put this in here. And then real quick, some people have long nails, some people like to not take their jewelry off. So always nice to have some gloves, any kind work. And we're just going to squish all the stuff together that I'm going to show you. So this is going to be our base for our meatballs. And as I eyeball it, I want to see how much meat I actually have. And I'm going to add 1 egg to start with to see where my texture is at. A lot of people crack their eggs on the side of the bowl. Don't do that because then you might get a shell. And then you always break your eggs into another dish to make sure that you don't have any shells. So I'm going to start with that. And we're going to go for our breadcrumbs. Now when I make my breadcrumbs, this is old bread, baguettes. I put in the refrigerator, I grind them up. And my little NutriBullet dude over there. Parmesan cheese and parsley flakes that I've cut up from my fresh parsley that I do keep in my refrigerator. And then I keep it in my freezer. And then I start mixing. I have a little extra parsley over there just in case if I need it. The bread and the egg give this lift and fluffiness, and also builds the product to be get more meatballs out of it, in other words. And then I'm going to show you how to do the seasoning. Alright, so I have it all mixed up. I ended up actually using 2 eggs in here, and I put about a total of a cup of the breadcrumbs that we have over here. I'm going to add a little more parsley because I like a little more in there, and this is fresh parsley. I keep it, I take it from the refrigerator, I cut the bottom off, I put it in water, and I put it in my refrigerator. You will not believe how long that lasts in your refrigerator. Alright, and then I'm going to use my onions that we had sauteed, sweated. And I think these are all today. I don't have too many people in the house that are scared of onions. Alright. I already have garlic, so I think I'm going to just go with some Old Bay. This has a little bit of more just like celery salt in it, something I like to use as a seasoning. You can use Lowry's, you just use regular salt, Himalayan salt, but you always remember to salt your food. I'm going to put more of Parmesan cheese. Usually I have some great, nice one around, but we are in quarantine and I'm using what I have, like I said. We're going to give it some parm. And if you really want to be zesty, you can go ahead and put some red pepper flakes, but no, not today. Alex doesn't care for too spicy. Or maybe so. If you see, it looks pretty light. We're not over mixing it. I'm not getting a lot of grease on my hands, because if you over mix it, you'll find out that the warmth of your hand will take the fat out of the meat, and then things won't be good. And I'm not going to have Alex film this little part. I'm going to stay on the air, but I do test my meat. Not to speak raw meat, but I don't really need it. You just see if it's got enough salt and enough pepper, and that little bit told me just a teeny bit more, but the salt content was there. Remember, there's salt content in your cheese, so that's going to bring it up too. And now we're going to do old school rolling, and unfortunately gloves don't work. It's water. So I'm going to do little meatballs today. I'm feeling Mario's does these wonderful big ones, but I think I'm going to do more of the style of an appetizer one. As long as your hands are wet, nothing sticks to them. And I'm just going to put them in this little glass pan over here. I put a little olive oil on the bottom of the pan, so in case I want to just throw them in the refrigerator for a while, or freeze them, because these can be frozen. And then after I get all this done in just a moment, we're just gonna saute them up to have a little crispy on the outside, not overcooked, and then I'm gonna keep them until I make some sauce for it. The sauce will be something later. So that is the meatball, and it was easy, fast, quick, and good. We'll be back in a moment. Alright, so I have all my meatballs ready and we're going to put them in my pan. I just realized I think when I get out of the coronavirus I'm buying myself some new pans. EVOO. We're going to start with, so of course it doesn't stick. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make these crispy on the outside but medium rare on the inside because I'm going to hold them probably in my warming of my oven. Alright, so this is up the finished product. I'm just transferring the last to my my container over here, and then I'm just going to pop it in the oven and put it on warm while I make the sauce. So basically that's it for making meatballs. No time at all, you have meatballs. You don't have to go out and have it with somebody else or have somebody else make it. You can make it yourself. You can do a whole bunch of things just on your own. And you don't need the recipe. So check out this meatball recipe, and hopefully in a little bit we'll have a sauce recipe to go along with it. But there's my meatballs, and thanks for watching.